whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Welcome to the Nikki Medoro Show. Sorry if my cough made it over the air. I will be hacking my lungs out throughout the show. Kim McAllister, Nikki Medoro here. Thank you all for being in the chat. It is the Great American Shakeout. And Kim, you were telling me before we started the show, apparently I didn't get it. I don't know if I didn't get the alert yesterday, although I had friends texting me. Because remember, there was an earthquake yesterday and a bunch of you were the ones that notified us and you got an alert on your phone. I didn't get that one. And apparently there was an early shakeout alert at 3 o'clock.
Today's the Great American Shakeout. So at exactly 10:19,
right?
If you have the Shake app, my Shake app, or Shake Off app, or Shake It Off, it's supposed to go off. And then on accident, it actually went off at 3 o'clock in the morning for some people, or 3:19 a.m. So a lot of people, I woke up to a bunch of posts. Why did it go off at 3 a.m. and wake everyone up? I guess it was a mistake. Oopsies.
Yeah, I would say so. And I'd be pissed if at 3 o'clock in the morning my phone was going off. So we'll see. I have the My Shake alert out on my phone. And we'll be on air at 10:19. So we'll all go through it together. But yesterday during the earthquake, some kids at my daughter's school got the alert. But their phones, like a lot of times in the classes, the phones are like at the front in these pouches, so they don't have them at their desk. And so the phones are just going off and the kids can't do anything about it. But they made them go under the desk. They made an announcement, like get under your desks and hold on and all that sort of stuff. So,
Good morning, Harry. Harry says, you didn't get an alert because it wasn't an earthquake. It was Jim Jordan reacting to another defeat. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get into that because I have Washington Post is this great thing where they just do all these live updates. Right. So they're saying, according to anonymous sources, of course, that Jim Jordan is not going to seek a third vote and that they're going to try to give Congressman Patrick McHenry, the temporary speaker, more power so they can get some crap done. But there's a bunch of Republicans, at least according to the Washington Post, that are saying, no, we are not going to go. We are not going to do that. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now I'm mentioning her because she's one of these thorn in the sides of McCarthy and others. She says she's absolutely opposed to the resolution to empower McHenry and believes it's a mistake for Congressman Jim Jordan to back it. MTG says it's time for the GOP to stop the never attitude, the never Trump, the never McCarthy, the never Scalise, the never Jim Jordan is only working against each other, which is working against our voters and working against our country. And listen to these words from Marjorie frickin' Taylor Greene. And I really want to see us people put down their egos. Give me a friggin' break, woman.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
Oh my God. But they're saying, no, I will never vote for Jim Jordan. And what does that say about this political party? I mean, you have power, supposedly. And I know it's a slim one. But like I mentioned before, you know who was able to get it done with only a 5-person majority? Nancy Pelosi.
Yep.
Nancy Pelosi was able to do it. And I think it's because, and again, this is just my opinion on the outside looking in. I feel like it is because there are such wide factions within the GOP. There's the sane ones and the insane ones. And I just feel like while certain policies on the Venn diagram may overlap, some of them also don't. And I don't know how you can have an election denier as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I mean, it goes against literally the job. And also, and I know so many of you were mentioning in the thing, I woke up to the news as well, Sidney Powell, the former Trump lawyer or whatever, she was standing up there, big old election denier. She's pleaded guilty. So exactly. It's great that she rolled over, but this was so she could avoid prison. Well, yeah, but it still says something. it says something to the fact of where the evidence was. If you truly believed that the election was stolen, you would have evidence to prove that. A video of someone passing what was it, chapstick or gum or some crap, right? Is not evidence. It's just not. And it was 60 plus lawsuits that they lost over the election. It went through the whole system that we have set up in this country to make sure that people believe what decisions we make in the court of law. I know Sidney Powell took a plea deal. I don't care. I loved waking up to the news because it's another person that is adding to the mountain of proof. The election was not stolen, and they were all full of crap. And I just when I talk to people, I always mention my friend who's a total conservative, and the last time that we kind of got into it, I had to let a lot of things go because I didn't want to like ruin our time together. It was one of those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But and she kept looking at me and like she's like, why do you think this and why do you think that? And she was spewing her ideas from everything from abortion to Hunter Biden to everything. And at the end, I was
That
like,
sounds fun.
yeah, exactly. Stop. And I was like, and basically it came down to this. And I told her this. I'm like, you don't live in the same world I do. I'm like, you don't read, watch, listen to the same things that I do. And that's honest to God, the truth. I'm going to play you a little clip because it just goes perfectly with what I was just talking about. Mitt Romney, who's decided he's not going to run again. He's not going to run for re-election. He's done. Okay. The guy asks him, what is your take on democracy as it is right now, the democratic process and everything that's gone on? And he's like, we've never been more divided. I mean, except for the Civil War, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've never been more divided. And this is what he says. And this kind of goes to my point with my conservative friends. And I'm sure many of you have conservative relatives and friends. What you choose to read. Now, I think because we do this job, I have to read both sides, right? But there should be both sides. There should just be kind of like this baseline of facts that former President
Right.
Obama talk about. But again, if you don't seek it out, if you let the algorithm play to you, your world is different than mine. So here is Mitt Romney.
I think the reason for that is that our media has moved from a setting where there were editors and fact checkers, and where if you're a crackpot with a crazy theory of some kind, you're probably not going to get it published in any kind of a way that's going to get picked up by the public at large. Because 20 years ago, people read newspapers, magazines, and looked at the evening news. Those things were all carefully vetted in most respects by editors, fact checkers, and so forth. That's gone. You guys are getting your news, certainly as I do now, by going on my device. That's curated for me. And I'm seeing stories, many cases I agree with, some I don't agree with. But oftentimes what I'm seeing in social media, there are no fact checkers, there are no editors. And if I have a really crazy crackpot theory, just absolutely completely wild out there, I can put it out there and get millions of hits. I can get a lot of people seeing it. Well, that was not possible. And the people who are influencers, if you will, and have the biggest following are people who are angry and are pointing out the foibles in the other side. And interestingly, we're drawn to those things as human beings. And so politicians have begun to reflect that, hey, if you want to get support, you want to get money for your campaign, your next campaign, the more outrageous thing you say, the more likely it is that you're going to have people following you.
And I apologize. I don't know why it's always so low when I play those videos, but I apologize. I'll have to turn up your volume. But basically what he was saying is what I was. When you are only getting your news from a certain source, right? And that source is not unbiased, but you take it as if it's unbiased, then you are going to only see the world through one viewpoint. People should seek out. I used to get, not it's an argument, but I used to always debate John Rothman when we worked at KGO. And I was like, well, how can you listen to Fox News? How can you do this, that? And he's like, I listen to and I read everything. And I go, you don't have to read everything. And he's like, no, I read everything in John Rothman's voice. And I get that. I get the fact that he wants to. Newsom said it as well. He watches probably Fox News more than he probably should. But he wants to know the arguments and the perspective of those he is going to encounter when he's trying to make his point about something. I like to protect my sanity a little bit more than that. I watch clips. I cannot just have Fox News on in the background. I would go absolutely out of my mind.
Sometimes I'll check their website just as a
Yeah.
comparative feature.
Absolutely.
Like, here's the facts. Here's what I know. Here's what all 4 of these websites that I happen to be looking at are reporting as their lead story. Or here's what they're saying about a certain issue. And it's always fascinating, not necessarily to watch an entire hour of it,
Right.
but to at least compare headlines and basic notes as to what's going on.
Exactly. And again, I do I follow more conservative leaning newspapers, websites and things like that, just to do exactly what you said, Kim. What are their headlines and what is their viewpoint? So for instance, yesterday, a bunch of pro-Palestinian ceasefire people were protesting at the Capitol. They went into the rotunda. I think I have a video of it. Here, I'll show you a video of it. They're calling for a ceasefire. They have signs that say "Jews say ceasefire now," and people are sharing it online as if this is similar to the insurrection. You tell me, do you see this as the same? So they're getting arrested there.
Let me turn it. Let me turn it the other direction. Okay, let me just turn it in the other direction.
So, I mean,
No,
do you see it the same way?
That's what we call a sit-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not trying to disrupt the will of the American people by
They're not
getting in
bringing
the way of a
gallows
vote.
to the steps of the
They're
Capitol,
not.
right?
I mean, I don't see any lawmakers cowering in fear behind seats that, as people are rushing in saying, kill Mike Pence or hang Mike, and
Right.
get Nancy or whatever. This is not happening. So I don't see them fighting with police and bashing the police officers' arms and doors or breaking windows and climbing in through the top. It's a peaceful sit-in protest. That's completely different than what we saw on January 6th. And to conflate the two means you really don't understand what happened there.
I mean, 300 people were arrested. They were arrested inside the rotunda of the Cannon House office building, demanding, as you saw, the ceasefire there.
As they should be, if they didn't have a permit to protest and if they shouldn't have been there.
If they were asked to leave.
Asked to disperse and they didn't, then but they know this going in, that they're probably going to get arrested to make a point. Okay, that's a protest.
Yeah. They were arrested for crowding, obstructing, or inaccommodating. I don't know that word. It's a code often cited when arresting protesters during acts of civil disobedience. Of those detained, 305 were ticketed and released. 3 others were held overnight on the additional charge of assault on a police officer and are expected to be in court today.
Assault on a police officer. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I bet they probably resisted and then, somebody got hurt. But again, 3 versus what actually happened during the insurrection where they were trying to stop legally allowed and
the election process.
Election process, exactly. So yeah, I don't see the same, and I'm glad that people are protesting. That is what America is based on. Is that if you're unhappy with something, now again, the Israel, Palestinian, Hamas, that conversation can get so difficult. Jon Stewart or The Daily Show, somebody had posted on their social media feeds 10 years ago, there was a bit on The Daily Show when Jon Stewart was still the host where he started to talk about, the occupation of Palestine and all that sort of stuff. And then all the hosts would start yelling and screaming like, do you hate Jews? And just how difficult this conversation has always been to have. It's just it's always a difficult conversation to have, but I like to see people expressing peacefully their opinions about it. And President Biden is supposed to address the nation today. I don't know what time. Some people were saying this evening and some people were saying this afternoon, but he's going to be addressing the nation regarding the war sometime today from the Oval Office. And I think that he has to, it's a delicate balance of what he says. And obviously the U.S. is standing with Israel. But the information coming out about the bombings, the hospital, all these sorts of things make it really difficult to know who to listen to in times like this.
Yeah,
It just makes it really difficult.
the facts are very muddled. Sometimes it's hard to know based on which source,
Yes,
what
exactly.
the truth is. And because even reporters there aren't at the scene seeing what's happening, it's very difficult to make heads or tails of it. It comes down to what side do you believe? Also, I think President Biden today is going to be asking for major money, wartime money
Yep.
for both Ukraine and for Israel. He also yesterday pledged $100 million to go toward humanitarian aid to Gaza and the West Bank as well.
Yeah. I mean, and again, when there's a debate of whether or not we should be even giving any more money to Ukraine, and now you want to add Israel on top of it, I understand. I'll say this. I understand the argument of we need to keep things focused on home. We don't live in that type of world anymore, right? Things that happen in other parts of the world impact us here as well. And then there's also the fight for democracy around the world. And if you want democracy to spread around the world, some people obviously don't. And so it's going to be hard to manage the situation moving forward and also put an end date on that financial support, which I think a lot of people are looking at. So yeah, we'll continue to follow it. I don't know what time the president is supposed to speak, but if he does during our show, we'll dip into it and see what he has to say. Because again, it is so difficult to know exactly what is going on all of the time. Okay, well, let's do some headlines. Also, when we come up, we'll bring it closer to the Bay Area. Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao has told ABC7, nah, I don't care that LeRonne Armstrong has, kind of been absolved of the allegations of misconduct against him. He is not going to be rehired as Oakland's police chief.
He is ballsy when he reapplied for his job.
Well, he's
Whoa.
on the list. And in all honesty, do you think that this is the right move? I'm going to say this. Okay, this is my opinion. I feel like, on one hand, just like what you said, Kim, a bit ballsy. But if he maintained he didn't do anything wrong, now he has that support of that outside investigator, right? Saying no, there was no misconduct here. So if he didn't do anything wrong, if he is a child of Oakland, right, born and raised in Oakland, knows the community likes him, right? I mean, because there's a lot of support for LeRonne Armstrong within the Oakland community, within certain parts of the Oakland community. First, saying, you know what? No, I don't think you could do it. I don't care what that report found. I think that you are not able to get us out from that oversight. Do you think that she made that decision because of ego, or she truly doesn't believe that LeRonne Armstrong can do a good job for the city of Oakland?
I think that's ego. I think they burn bridges with each other.
And is that right for the city of Oakland? I mean, should the mayor just suck it up, Buttercup, and be like, all right, I had my concerns. I voiced my concerns. They did a report. I want to move forward. Do you think she should because it would be the cheapest way of doing it for a city that is facing financial problems, right? And has not had a consistent police chief in quite some time. Do you think a good mayor would stand by what she truly believes is best, which is not LeRonne Armstrong, or she should suck it up and be like, okay, let's put him in. Let's see what he can do. I voiced my concerns, but I am not this entire city of Oakland. I am just its mayor. So you guys let me know in the comments. Also, we're going to talk about the street vendors. San Francisco city leaders are considering shutting down the street vendors in the Mission District. Do you like street vendors? And I'm not talking about just the bacon wrapped hot dog people. I'm, the little knickknacks, the wares, and everything like that. Do you think that brings something to a community? Or
you also mean the people that roll out their blankets and sell all the stuff they stole from Walgreens?
Exactly. Or do you think it's not worth it?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's not worth it? And at a time when, people are just trying to make ends meet, should we take away this source of income for those that are legitimately selling something? Now, obviously, if it looks like a bunch of stolen goods, we got to do something about that, right? These fencing operations and everything like that. But what should we do? Also, in the second part of the show, there's a new report out about how much you need to earn to afford a typical home in the United States. Now, I don't think the numbers from the Bay Area will shock anybody, although they are shocking numbers. It's how high they're getting in other parts of the country. And it's going to be interesting to see how those states adapt to this, because it is in no way, shape, or form in line with how much people are making in these states. Halloween is coming. A question for you. What do you do if your teenager wants to wear a sexy Halloween costume?
No.
We'll talk about that. There's also a website that
We're
helps
not doing
you.
Halloween Whores Are Us. We're not doing it.
But it's the only time of the year you could dress as a whore, and it's okay.
No,
Kim
not at
McAllister.
14. There's no horror Halloween horror coming on.
We're gonna, when we talk about it, I'm not just talking about our daughter's age. I'm talking about, let's say, 16, 17 years old, still in high school.
If you're in your 20s and you're in college,
Obviously.
then that's your thing. But if you're a teenager, you don't need to be whoring it up on Halloween. No.
All right. Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. So what do you do? How do you talk to your teenager if all of their friends are dressing up like
How do
Kim
you talk to
said,
your teenager?
like
you know how you talk to your
whores.
teenager? No.
Yahuwah's all over the place. So
No.
you guys let us know. All right. Click the thumbs up button, you guys, to show your support of the show. The super chat is also live. You can throw some dollars for a super sticker, a super comment, a super thanks, and we really appreciate it. Just look for the $ under the live chat box. And please make sure you're an official Medorable. Just go to the NikkiMedoroShow.com and sign up for our Patreon. There's no tiers in our Patreon, so whatever you can afford makes you an official Medorable. So just go to the NikkiMedoroShow.com. Click the Patreon link. You're only charged once a month, so it's not an every day, every week type of thing. I like to call it the monthly tip for doing this show for myself and Kim. Also, if you check the show notes in the About section of our YouTube channel, there's all kinds of links there, including our PayPal link, emails, and merchandise shop as well. All right, let's do some headlines, and then we will talk about Sheng Tao versus LeRonne Armstrong and those street vendors. Love them or hate them? Should they completely go away? You let me know after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Okay, first, good morning. It is the Nikki Medoro Show, and I have a surprise for you, Nikki Medoro, because yesterday, this isn't news related, but I'm going to start the newscast with it anyway.
Okay.
Yesterday, I got a text.
Okay.
Somebody knows my phone number.
Ooh.
I don't usually give that out, but that's all right.
You do not. Okay.
They text me. They don't say what their name is, but they do say, this is a video for the Nikki Medoro Show 1 year anniversary. There's a Mark's show. People were sending videos and well wishes.
Right.
We didn't ask for that on this show.
No, we did
We'll
not.
take it. That's lovely. And so I got this video and I thought it was really a nice message. So I wanted.
Hi, Kim and Nikki. Good evening. Daniel D here. Just wanted to thank you so much for 1 year. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. And thank you so much for all you do each day. It bounces out my life listening to the 3 shows every day. It's really wonderful. So thank you, and good luck to many more anniversaries. Take care. Bye.
Wasn't that the nicest?
Oh,
Daniel.
Daniel is the one that makes his donation, I believe, through Lori above the bar.
That's right. That's
and
right.
So he's such a sweetheart, and the fact that he does it, and thank you, Daniel. If you're watching live or on replay, thank you. That was so very sweet.
You can text me anytime, friend.
Exactly.
That was really nice. Yeah.
That was so sweet. Yeah, we didn't ask. I don't have a Tony to edit the videos. Kim told me to watch because I missed it apparently on Mark's anniversary. Tony put together a nice little montage of everything, which I think I kind of went through a little PTSD with the end of KGO, which was really, really sad. But yeah, it's awesome that we both surpassed our 1 year anniversary, and obviously the after party live has a bit to go, but Kim's been here for both. So it's it's a great time. I'm happy that we've done this. I think we're starting to hit our stride a little bit. I love how much the community has grown, and it grows every single day. And so again, you guys, I know Kim's going to do her news, but if you know somebody that introduce them to this community because I love you guys so much. Even those that disagree with me every single show, I love you too. I mean, you make it so interesting to do this show, and thank you. That was awesome, Kim. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay, so now on to the news. We have so lot to talk about, my friends. The war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas is still escalating. We know that. The total death toll, 5,100. And every day I'm going to say more and more and more, and it's a heartbreaker. And I don't know about you, but the pictures and the video coming out of this conflict, it just rips at my heart. I'm laying awake at night thinking about all of it. So I know I'm not the only one.
No, it's so sad because again, the innocent casualties of this war is what gets to me so much. And again, the debate between Israel and Palestine, when innocent people are caught in the middle, that's just the biggest horrific tragedy.
And little ones, you see these
Exactly.
pictures of kids with bloodied faces, and I just picture my own children.
And think about, like, honestly, the trauma we talk, and that's why sometimes during COVID, there was always that analogy made of, oh my God, think of the kids, they can't, and I'm not knocking it, and I don't mean to be flippant about it, but it's like, oh my God, my kid can't go to school. In comparison to what kids in this world have to go through on a daily basis, like, let's put things in perspective a little bit. Not saying it's not traumatizing of what our kids went through, but I can't imagine my child living in a world in which bombings, all sorts of things were happening on the daily. I cannot even comprehend a world like that.
We're so lucky. Just by the, luck of the draw of where we were born. That's it.
Exactly.
President Biden will speak on the wars in Israel and Ukraine from the Oval Office tonight. The president is expected to lay out why the conflicts are critical to the national security of the United States. Meanwhile, his administration is expected to ask Congress to approve about $100 billion with a B in supplemental funding for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan as well to address the southern border crisis. You were mentioning this earlier. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan will not be seeking a third vote to become Speaker of the House today. This comes after he failed to get the necessary votes from the members of his own party during 2 rounds of ballots earlier this week. It's interesting, he stops after 2. McCarthy was like, I'm going to push through till I get what I want.
It's because McCarthy is a douche canoe, but so is Jim Jordan. But Jim Jordan, I just, while you were speaking, apparently he's not seeking another vote, but he's just pausing it.
Right.
He's still the speaker designee, and so he could possibly, if people start liking him, surprisingly, in the near future, he can put his hat back in the race. So.
Yeah, Jordan is reportedly not dropping out of the race, but he will back a plan to empower interim Speaker Patrick McHenry until January. So we'll see how that shakes out. A former attorney for Donald Trump pleading guilty for her role in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. I kind of feel like I want a picture of her face with a graphic that says guilty and a voiceover, guilty, red
exactly.
X. Yeah. Sidney Powell, sorry, was that overboard? Sidney Powell accepted a plea deal today, just one day before her trial was scheduled to begin. Powell had been charged with 7 counts, including conspiracy to defraud the state of Georgia. Yeah. There's a prayer service that is going to be held at Pepperdine University at 10 o'clock this morning in memory of 4 students killed on Tuesday night in a crash on the Pacific Coast Highway. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, this crash started when a driver lost control of his car, slamming into several parked cars and then hitting these 4 women who were standing on the side of the roadway. The driver was taken into custody and faces manslaughter charges. Speed said to be a factor in this case. Oh, sad one. Hundreds of Bay Area students are making their voices heard about wanting peace in the Middle East. About 1,500 Bay Area students participated in a nationwide walkout yesterday calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Elsewhere, dozens gathered on the steps of San Francisco City Hall calling for peace in the region as well. As you mentioned, Nikki, the mayor of Oakland doesn't really want to rehire the former police chief. The odds of Oakland's former chief heading back to that job, very, very slim. Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao telling ABC 7 News she has no plans to rehire former police chief LeRonne Armstrong for that post. Tao fired Armstrong 8 months ago after an investigation found that he mishandled a couple of misconduct cases. But the city has been without a police chief since that termination. The Oakland Police Commission sent a list of 7 names they are recommending to be the next police chief, and Armstrong is one of them. But the mayor says she won't rehire him. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we'll talk about this in just a few minutes, but I feel like she just can't admit that she might have been wrong about him. Like, even though there's, a report that supports LeRonne Armstrong, and you're the mayor, you're supposed to admit. I think I would have more respect for people if they would admit that, you know what? Okay, maybe I wasn't 100% wrong. I was valid in my concerns. This is why I had a concern. But we have so many issues in our city that we need to close this chapter and move on to the next. That's my opinion.
City leaders in Alameda are coming out in strong opposition of a proposed expansion of the Oakland International Airport. The Port of Oakland's recent proposal calls for up to 25 new gates at the Oakland International Airport. It would bring millions more travelers through the area. Alameda officials, although, are furious that the port's plan, in their mind, doesn't take into effect issues like air quality, noise, and traffic congestion. They're worried that more flights over the city would cause all sorts of problems. Port of Oakland officials say they've received Alameda's official concerns. They're working to address them. But that's part of the beauty of the Oakland airport, right? It's kind of, you go in, it's easy, you're out. Yeah. But if you increase the bandwidth of the airport, is it still going to be the easiest place to travel out of? It's not as delay laden as SFO with the fog and the weather issues. So I don't know.
We'll see.
Sales of previously owned homes fell to their lowest level since 2010 in September. The National Association of Realtors says existing home sales dropped another 2% last month to an annual rate of fewer than 4 million units. The group's chief economist blaming the lack of inventory and high mortgage rates for putting the damper on sales. And the first trailer is being released for the upcoming rom-com Anyone But You. The film stars Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell as 2 college arch nemeses who reunite years later for a destination wedding. Anyone But You, coming out
Anyone But You. Okay.
in December. I'm a rom-com fan. It could be good. I don't know.
All right.
I would like to note that today, there was it's always a food day. What day is it today? Today is National Gin and Tonic Day. I sound like I've already had one. Gin and tonic.
I'm not a big gin and tonic fan, although I have had good gin. Like, somebody's made me a cocktail and I was like, what's in it? And they said gin. I was like, this isn't bad. Have I ever really gone in and been like, I want a gin and tonic? Never done that. Have any gin fans in the comments? Anybody? No? Okay.
Lastly, I'll tell you that former First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is adding to her resume. The podcaster and Columbia University professor is now becoming a Broadway producer.
Really?
Yeah. She is teaming up with a Pakistani activist and Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai. You say it different than me. Yousafzai. Thank you. I'll just defer to you. I'm just going to say Malala.
Malala. You also just say Malala. I don't think that there's another Malala that anybody knows, so we'll just go with Malala.
She is bringing a show called Suffs, S-U-F-F-S, Suffs, to life. Okay. It's a musical about the women's suffrage movement. It had an off-Broadway run last year at the Public Theater, and it's expected to open on what they call the Great White Way, right? Broadway. This April. Lead producers tell the New York Times Clinton and Yousafzai, did I get it right? Will help promote the show and offset input as well. So
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting that she's getting into the Broadway. Okay.
This report is sponsored by you, which means we do rely on you to help fund the show. Find us at the NikkiMedoroShow.com, the Patreon and the PayPal link all located right there, the NikkiMedoroShow.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
There you go. All right. Okay. Some great comments already regarding Mayor Sheng Tao saying, nah, I don't care. I'm not rehiring LeRonne Armstrong to the police chief position. Okay, so I try to take, the actual people out of it. If let's just do, an anonymous type of a blank slate. If employee A had a tough job and was trying their best to do a good job, and then their boss was like, you know what, I don't like how you responded, because this is what it basically was. Mayor Shang Tao didn't like LeRonne Armstrong's response to those misconduct allegations against those Oakland police officers. She felt like it wasn't strong enough. And I'll say this. A lot of that to me screams perspective, right? Like, you didn't like how he responded. You didn't like what he said in response to it. But you also, he wasn't police chief very long, and you weren't mayor very long. You guys hadn't developed any sort of real relationship with each other, and a lot of decisions and assumptions about behavior, I feel, my opinion, were made. And so I think that Mayor Tao did kind of a knee-jerk firing of LeRonne Armstrong. I really do. I think that, she could have pulled him aside and be like, "Listen, I need more forceful, a more forceful statement from you regarding this. We are done being under the federal auditor, or whatever you call the person, oversight. We're done. We've been doing this for decades. We're done. It's number one on my list to get us out from under it, and it was LeRonne Armstrong's number one thing to get us out of it, right?" If you are not going to speak more forcefully, we're going to have an issue. And then give him a chance to do it, right? That's how I see it. What I feel like happened was that she said, "Nope, not strong enough, you're out." And I just don't think that that was necessarily, for lack of a better word, fair. Like, give the guy a chance to do what you want him to do. Add on to this the fact that now he has this report that supports the fact that he did not commit misconduct or whatever. The city of Oakland's going to have to pay out the ass now through lawsuits and everything else, because he has a case now. So instead of being like eating a little crow, but you might have jumped the gun a little bit, Mayor Tao was like, "Nope, not going to do it." Here she is. I'm just going to play a little bit of this. This is her interview with ABC7. And again, I just don't agree with the stance that she's taken, but maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me.
Chief LeRonne Armstrong, whom you fired earlier this year, his name is back on it, or on it, I should say, after last month an independent report found him to have been cleared of wrongdoing in the case of that misconduct charge against officers. So my question to you is, with his name on the list, would you consider rehiring Chief Armstrong as chief?
So I want to be very clear that the list that was talked about from the previous commissioner and previous chair of the commission was actually not a full list. We did recommend that list to be put forward to the full commission. It was just a recommendation from an ad hoc committee. And so now it's being pushed forward to the full police commission, and applications are closed, is my understanding. And so I'm looking forward to making sure that, the police commission does give me a list of the comprehensive candidates that they feel will be a best fit for the city of Oakland. And my direct answer in regards to Mr. LeRonne Armstrong is that I am determined to get us out of the federal oversight, which we have been under for the last 20 years. That is not only costing us dollars that we can be spending for our parks and libraries, but it's also really, it's about time we get out of it so that we can actually do policing work. But more with that being said, the next police chief is going to have to be able to work with the monitor and with the federal judge as well. And I do believe that in this case, it will not be LeRonne Armstrong. In this case, I do not have the belief that he can lead the city out through that process.
Okay, Oakland Mayor Shang Tao, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
So, there you go. She doesn't believe that he is the one that's going to get us out from under that oversight. Do you think that if he was given a chance, he possibly could have? I liked, and I don't live in Oakland, so I don't have too much skin in the game of this. But I will say this: when you have someone that was born and raised in an area, went to school, knows the community, because that's what a lot of people who like LeRonne Armstrong are saying. He knows us. Yep. He knows he's been here. He has seen the ebbs and flows of this city. You want someone like that to handle policing. They've got all the skin in the game. This is their home. And when she talks about money for parks and libraries, Mayor Tao, parks and libraries are not at the top of people's lists in Oakland.
Right.
It's not. And that seems so tone deaf to me. It's like, really? How about not wasting money on what will now likely be unlawful firing of a police chief? It's going to cost you a ton of money that Oakland doesn't have. So I think that she's wrong here. I really think it's the wrong tactic. Yeah, it'll suck for a week of interviews of when did you realize you had made the wrong decision about LeRonne Armstrong and that she doesn't want to do it. But God, hire me. I'll write you a 3-sentence thing that you just repeat over and over again until people get bored with it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't fully agree, but Mayor Sheng Tao, am not the entire city of Oakland. I just represent the people. And what the people need right now is a police chief that'll do the work. What we don't need right now is to spend money on any lawsuits that have come from a decision that I made. So I'm going to make the mature decision for the people of Oakland. And I'm going to reinstate LeRonne Armstrong, and he will show the rest of us the work that he can do. And if he doesn't do it, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Done. Boom. Moving on. Like, let's go. Like, they have so many freaking problems over there. Let's get it done. I don't know. I
like LeRonne Armstrong.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he wasn't police chief for very long. I'm not saying that like he has a long track record, but I liked him.
Have you ever interviewed him?
Well, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's very personable, but also he's very forthcoming.
Well, I think on KGO we did. We interviewed him when he first became, yes, but.
Right. He'll tell you, he seems very honest to me and very genuine to me. And when I hear her interviewed Sheng Tao on ABC7 moments ago, it seems like maybe I think she's trying to do the best job she can for the city of Oakland. And, I respect and appreciate that. But when you hear her talk about the police department, it seems like maybe she doesn't have a really good understanding of what exactly happens there. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that she's not SJ Lola. She means well, but she doesn't have the experience to help solve Oakland's myriad of problems. This is also a distraction for her. Like, this is also a cloud on her getting things done, because now the fact that this city doesn't have a permanent police chief is at her feet. It was your decision, and now you're dragging it out even longer as the city's dealing with all these problems. And that is a decision that lands solely with her. So it's not a good look, Sheng. It's just not a good look.
On one hand, I understand her wanting to come out strong on the issue of, making sure that the Oakland Police Department is everything's on the up and up there. And I also understand maybe the desire to start fresh. Right? To leave the problems in the past and start fresh with something else. But you're not going to get a person who really understands what has been happening with the history of the police department and is ready to hit the ground running. I don't think. I don't know.
I think that he was the best choice. That's why he was put in as police chief. I think that he should still be. But her going on ABC7 and saying no is dumb. It's just dumb. I don't think that it's the right choice, but we'll see what happens next. But again, all of this is just delay time. You think the people of Oakland don't want a permanent police chief? You think the people of Oakland want her to fight this battle? Like, no, they want you to put in a police chief. They want you to actually start working on it. Do you think that anyone besides LeRonne Armstrong is just going to walk in and all these problems are going to be solved immediately?
No.
That he or she is going to make inroads with officers, that policing is going to get better. All of these sorts of things, it takes time to build a rapport. You think an outsider coming into the Oakland police station is going to just be able to just leap over all of the time it takes to get the trust of the rank and file, right? I mean, these are the things that somebody has to do. And I don't, well, we'll see. I guess we shall see. I just think that Sheng Tao is making the wrong decision. Okay, let's go across the bay, shall we? Let's talk about San Francisco. So San Francisco supervisors are weighing the option of kind of, I guess, changing the rules regarding street vending on the streets and the sidewalks. And it could shut down all street vending on Mission Street. So right now, California law allows street vendors to operate anywhere they're not blocking the right of way. But let me play you a little clip from NBC Bay Area, and you guys tell me. Now, I'm trying to like take it out of the Bay Area. So when I went to New York with my mom and my brother years and years and years ago, there's many blocks where they have these vendors, and you just go there, and they're whether it's food or some wares or whatever. And the joke is, of course, you want to buy a Rolex, right? You just go down the street and there's like a fake Rolex or something, right? Purses, shoes, things like that. It's the character of the place. Like you expect to go down there and see it and those sorts of things. But has the rise in these like CVS, Walgreens thefts, right? The brazen, open robberies of these places or burglaries of these places or just thievery of these places change people's feelings about having these street vendors. So this is the report from our friends at NBC Bay Area.
Francisco be without that smell of the bacon wrapped hot dogs or the fruit with chamoy. But this is a proposal that could shut down all of that because of a few bad actors. Now, California law does allow street vendors to operate anywhere that they're not blocking the right of way, like you said, the sidewalk, and that they're not operating near permitted farmers markets or swap meets or during special events. In San Francisco, though, the enforcement of this lies with the Department of Public Works, and therein lies the problem. Supervisor Hillary Ronan, who represents the Mission District, wrote on her website, "I recently learned that DPW workers who enforce the law have been assaulted and had their lives threatened by individuals selling stolen goods on the street. I also found out that DPW workers are wearing bulletproof vests to work, and that many workers filed grievances through their union, so they no longer had to work in the Mission because they feared for their safety." Now, Ronan says that staff pulled health and safety records. They found that street vendors on Mission Street and around BART stations are creating a problem in the neighborhood. The San Francisco Chronicle is reporting that the mayor's office corroborates that an order to vacate will in fact be issued to all street vendors. Now, to make sure that the permitted vendors who are legitimately selling food and goods don't get caught in the middle, the city will eventually designate safe spaces off city sidewalks, and they will offer some sort of workforce development programs. But I'd love to know what you think about all.
Yeah, so I when she was talking about, the legitimate permit holders, I think of the flea market, right? So if you want to go sell stuff at the flea market, you got to fill out paperwork, you got to pay a fee, you get your spot or whatever. Does that mean you're not still selling stolen goods? No, of course it doesn't. I mean, that's what people say. They steal stuff and they go get a spot at the flea market and they sell you, razors for $1 a piece, right?
Well, there's a difference between what we're seeing here, which is, it looks more flea markety, right? You can see all the belts hanging off the table there, whatever. And this, which looks like it could be stolen goods laying on a blanket, people picking through stuff. It's either a garage sale wares and it's just not, why do you want that on the streets? That's not this. There's a difference.
I hear exactly what you're saying. It does seem a little bit more organized. The display looks a little bit more professional. Like it looks like, okay, this is your legitimate business. You're not just stealing stuff from Walgreens, laying out a blanket, throwing it out there and selling it real quick. And that's what we need to have. They need to be permitted. And I understand that sometimes the permitting process can be either confusing, complicated, or expensive. But sorry, that's the cost of doing business. We shouldn't have it be so expensive that people that are really trying to make ends meet by living this way can't afford it. Of course not. But at the same time, when you have a financial bar, it weeds out those thieves that are just trying to get rid of their stuff real quickly and make some bucks for whatever. And so that's what I think they need to do. I know. Blue Spark. I'd be shocked to see stolen stuff at the flea market. Oh, yeah. Shocked. Totally shocked. But again, there's at least a little bit of a bar. You know what I mean? Like you have to put your name down on a piece of paper. You have to pay some sort of fee. Unless we want to do away with vendors. That was kind of why I wanted to talk about this. Do we need this? Should we just get rid of flea markets and street vendors and things like that? Should it only be food and not goods because of the problem with store thefts and things like that? I mean, what's the answer here?
I remember when I was little, My dad took me on a trip to San Francisco, just a day trip, and
Right.
we stopped at a street vendor who had made jewelry. That was a self-employed jewelry maker who had a table set up on a street corner and was selling like little pins of things. And I asked my dad for these lips, this pin. It was a red lips.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right. So I have this, and it was so ugly. No offense to the street vendor. It's so ugly, this lips with these white teeth in the middle.
Right.
It was such a silly thing that my dad and I ended up trading it back and forth for years.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cute.
I was on a date one time, and the boy I was with stopped at a street vendor thing and bought me this really cool, like, expandable metal bracelet.
Oh, okay.
They're good memories about just like the flavor of the city and getting things you couldn't find anywhere else, and a spur of the moment purchase like that. And so I would be bummed to lose that flavor, but when you see stuff like this,
yes,
you can see all the bars, the bottles and the jars, obviously things that look like they're right off the shelf at Walgreens or Rite Aid or whatever, and then they put them all out there and sell them. I don't think we can have street vendors anymore. This is to the point where you can't have nice things.
Yeah,
right.
This is why we can't have
because of the people causing trouble and having an avenue to resell the items that allegedly they've pilfered. I don't think we can do it. In an effort to crack down on organized retail theft and help keep businesses open and thriving in San Francisco, you gotta shut it down.
I mean, I feel like there are certain vendors that I'm okay with, and that picture that you just showed, I can do without. Okay, I don't need to get my medicine, laundry detergent, whatever the hell, cold cream, off from a blanket on the ground on the streets of San Francisco.
Right.
On the other hand, if there's someone, now I think that there are certain rules that are reasonable. It needs to have a table, right? There needs to be a table. It needs to be elevated off of the ground, right? So, and the reason why I say the table should be part of it, that's another bar. You're not just stealing from a store. You have a blanket in your back. You're laying it out. You're selling it real quick and you're moving on. Like there needs to be some sort of structure like that. Number two, if it's art, like I'm thinking of like when I went to New Orleans, right? There's artists that draw and paint and they're literally doing it right in front of you. I'm fine with that. Right.
Yeah.
One anniversary that James and I had, and I still have it, kind of speaking about things you buy. I'm thinking it was the metal anniversary. I have this like tree of life thing that was made out of metal, and it's really cool. Like you can hang earrings on it if you want to, but I obviously still have it. It's in my room right now. And I bought that. I think I bought that in Santa Cruz, I want to say, from a street vendor that was making this kind of metal work.
Right.
Those sorts of things I am 100% behind.
Artisans that maybe don't have the wherewithal, the financial means to open a store.
Yes. That's fine.
And that's the flavor of the city. And that's the kind of thing I mean. But what I don't mean is it's not a flea market. It should be just like kind of kitschy little artists and vendors. I was in Trier, Germany, right before the pandemic started.
Right.
And I was talking to this man who had a blanket laid out. It wasn't a table. He was a blanket laid out, and he had all these beautiful paintings that he had done of city scenes in Trier. What an amazing piece of art to bring home to remind you of your trip to this really cool place. And I meant to go back and buy one so I didn't have to carry it around, and he had already packed up and he was gone. And I still think about today, I wish I had bought one of those pictures. But it's those kind of things where it's like a one time, you couldn't find it anywhere else if you tried. Because I've looked on the internet and tried. I still can't. Yeah, it's that. It's not, like you said, your cold cream and your laundry detergent. This is not what we need.
Why do you have laundry? Like, why do you have one bottle of laundry detergent? Why do you have, one thing of razors or 5 packs of razors? Like, that doesn't look normal to me. I am surprised by how many of you are like, I could do away with the food vendors. Spencer says, I stopped buying from those vendors. They're not sanitary. They don't use gloves or a head covering. And the reason why I'm kind of surprised is street food is very common, not only here in the United States, but around the world, right? Like that's where you get a lot of the flavor, whether it's meat patties or kebabs or whatever, is kind of native to the area.
There is a permitting process for street vendors.
Yeah, there and for food especially, like you have to have some sort of permit, and they do check you out to make sure that you're selling. Although I will say this, like every time I talk about buying food, I'll never forget my best friend. I could still see us. We were like downtown San Jose, and there was one of those taco, vendors,
Yeah.
and she like scarfed down like 3 tacos and got the worst food poisoning the next day. Yeah, that was no bueno. But yeah, I've never. Have I ever? No, you know where I got food poisoning? It was actually free food at one of those wine walk places. And we walked around and I don't know what one it was because they had like little appetizers with the wine that they were having. And I remember my husband and I were driving to our friend's house, and all of a sudden I'm like, I do not feel good. And I think that I had just had Dylan and I was so sick the next day. Try breastfeeding while you're suffering from food poisoning. The worst. Like the worst. Like you're like, I let it all out and then I have to go feed a kid. It was awful. But yeah, food poisoning. I don't mess with it, so I get it. But I feel like if you go to some of these vendors, they have their kind of permit showing and things like that. They could be. Yeah, probably bad cheese. I don't know if it was bad cheese. They were serving like little, but yeah, every time I think about it, ugh.
My husband got a parasite from eating funnel cake at a fair in San Francisco once. Yeah.
From funnel cake?
Yeah. That's the only thing he had. And the next day he was miserable. And we ended up having to go to the emergency room and they tested him. And
but how do you get it? I mean, they deep fry it. What could survive the deep frying?
I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wait, he had to be on medicine. He was really sick.
You hear my stomach
Here's another one of
growling?
these. Look at all that they're trying to sell.
Yeah, that's stolen. In my opinion, that's stolen. You tell me. Like anybody that doesn't think that this is stolen goods, where did they get it? Oh, it's surplus. Surplus from who? The truck that it fell off of?
Surplus from it's extra. Walgreens didn't need it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because it's such a weird. Now, okay, I'll say this. If this was in somebody's driveway, like a garage sale, like, look, I don't need any of this. We overbought or whatever. I could maybe buy it, but not this. This looks just like stolen.
No, who's going to buy your extra deodorant? Like I want this. I'll buy. I expect my stuff to be sealed and fresh when I buy it. I don't want somebody's used deodorant, and I don't know where it's been. Did you roll it on your pits?
I'm assuming it's new. They're able to have that little plastic thing on it, right?
Yeah. If it's new on the street in San Francisco and it's personal hygiene products, no, thank you.
Chris is like, I'd rather them shoplift from corporations than pick my pocket with welfare. All right, I don't want either. How about that? And it's not picking your pocket for welfare. Stop it. It's San Jose. It's weenies with bacon wrapped around. Oh, that's the bacon wrapped. Oh, I'm sorry. A bacon wrapped hot dog is bomb. Really, 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 really good. John says nothing will change until we treat stealing as a jailable offense, not the price. It's the principle. Steal and you go to jail. How long is negotiable, but you go and get a mugshot. I know you're a fan of mugshots. Oh, I don't have my cup right now. I don't have a problem with being thrown in jail. Look, I feel like jail can scare the bejesus out of somebody that doesn't, it's never been before. It's their first offense, right? I feel like it really could be a turning point. And if you make somebody go in, get booked, get their mugshot, spend the night, maybe it'll give them pause of doing it again. That's a good question. Kim, if let's just say one of your kids, I don't think this would ever happen in any form, but what if your kids got in trouble and they call you from jail and they're like, I could spend the night.
This is a possibility with my little love, Jacob. Yes.
That's so mean of you to judge.
Well, listen, I love that kid like there's no tomorrow, but he has no impulse control.
Okay, so let's say it's Jacob. So he calls you from jail and he's like, you can either bail me out or I have to spend the night here tonight. And you could choose whatever minor offense that goes into. Would you let him spend the night in jail or would you bail him out?
Is it his first offense?
Yes.
I might go bail him out. If it's his second offense, you're spending the night.
Okay. What if it was like a DUI? God forbid, but DUI.
They don't let you.
You have to spend the night in the junk.
I know this because I had a family member who.
Oh, really?
Who was arrested for a DUI in Davis, and she called me I was at work, and I running out of work and went to pick her up. And the person at the front desk said, no, they have to stay for a certain amount of hours. She'll be available at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Wow.
So I had to go back and pick her up. They don't just let you out. They make you stay, at least in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you saw that, and we didn't talk about it. I was going to talk about it a couple days ago, that they're thinking of changing the rules regarding first DUIs, where you have to go into kind of a recovery program instead of like going down the punitive route.
Well, that one night in jail scared the holy hell out of her.
Exactly.
She won't take a sip of alcohol if there's any driving
she's gonna
involved.
drive. Yes.
Never.
I mean, in the day and age of Uber, right? In the day and age of Uber and Lyft, I was literally talking this weekend with one of my mom friends about this. And I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show. If you mentioned it to me, somebody did. And they said that one of the best gifts, a teenager or a young adult had said, one of the best gifts that my parents ever gave me was access to their Uber account. I didn't have to put my card in at all. And it was just like, if you ever need a ride, you don't have to ask me. I don't have to clear it for you. Call the Uber. They'll pick you up. It'll be on my credit card. Like, what's the, like, you have your own chauffeur basically, because I don't want you to ever be in a situation in which it's like, well, I really don't have cash. I don't have any money. I'll just drive, you know, like you don't have to do it. Just take, and again, like I know that Uber and Lyft is, you know, say what you will about their business practices and how much they pay their drivers or whatever, but it exists. It existed. It exists. And so you should not be driving drunk anymore. You shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like if you go out to dinner, you have a glass of wine. Okay. But if you're going out for the night, which brings me to actually what I wanted to remind people about, you know what I'm going to say? So, because we're going to do headlines in a minute. So this is going to be my little bridge. So Sasha won the My Favorite Mystery Box, right? And so we have set a date on when we are going to go and meet at the Red Jack Saloon in San Francisco. I'm going to remind you guys as it leads up to it, because if anybody wants to join us, I'd love to bring business to the Red Jack Saloon, right?
It's a party. Come on.
I'm going to go. But I told my husband, I'm like, come with me. I'm going to bring my husband so you can meet the infamous James. I think, and the reason I bring this up is I'm going to take the train. I'll take the train up and I'll Uber or Lyft to the Red Jack, because I definitely want more than one Medoro mule while I'm out there. So if you guys want to go, it's going to be next Friday, October 27th, which also happens to be my birthday weekend. My birthday is the 26th. Yay, so the 27th is that Friday. I didn't want to make it on Kim unfortunately has plans because she's a party animal, so she's not going to be able to go. But I'll be there.
I have a Halloween party that I have to go
to. It is
to.
Halloween weekend. I get it. I get it.
And it's for one of my kids, and I know the mom, and I already said I would go, and so yeah.
So we're going to do it. We're going to do it Friday, October 27th. Probably semi early in the evening because I can't make it too late of a night. But I'll definitely like kind of condense the time down as we get closer. But put it on your calendars. If you're in San Francisco or close to it, come on down to the Red Jack Saloon. I'll give Sasha her box. Pamela Kirby also got the gift card. So you know, she has money to go there too, Pamela, if you want to buy cocktails too. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm excited to give Sasha the box and to support the Red Jack, which has been a huge supporter of not only the Nikki Medoro Show, but Mark Thompson's and Kim's and everything like that. So yeah, October 27th. That's the plan. If it changes, I'd let you know. But right now, that is the date on when we're going to go to the Red Jack Saloon. I'm just excited. I'm excited to step foot into the bar, and I'm excited to give Sasha the box. So that's going to be fun. Fun. Okay.
Really cool. Yeah, it'll be nice if a lot of people come and hang out. Pack the place. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so let's do some headlines. When we come back, we're going to talk about home prices, and then we're going to get into the debate about Halloween costumes. Should you allow your child to dress as a whore on Halloween? And what do you say? You know, and I will say, I'm just going to preface this because you know how I feel about outfits and wear what you wear. If your parent says it's okay, it's okay. But it is a bit ridiculous. Like, do we need a sexy Nemo, right? Do we need a sexy, Big Bird? Do we need these? Is this what we need? And hell yeah, I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. My husband's a Scorpio. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law, we're all Scorpios in this family. So yeah, we're all Scorpios. But yeah, we're going to talk about Halloween costumes. I just bought my daughter hers on Amazon. It is not It's not sexy. I still have to make my sons, but now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I will hopefully put some more thought into actually creating it. But there's also a place, and I'll share with you the website. There is a website that if you want to do a DIY costume, it's a free concierge service. You call them up, you're like, I want to be X, Y, and Z costume, and they help you figure out how to build that costume at home.
I love it.
I know, right? So that's cool. So we'll talk about that in the second part of the show. You guys, please click the thumbs up button to show your support. And here's Kim with the headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Schools and businesses around California are participating in Great Shakeout Day later today. As a matter of fact,
10 minutes.
9 minutes and counting. The earthquake preparedness drill takes place statewide at 10:19 a.m. During the drill, most people will practice how they will drop, cover, and hold on.
Should we do it?
I think you should.
My daughter was
fan in here. What could fall on me?
I wish that there's nothing above my head. If this wall behind me falls because it's just standing, you're going to see a couch filled with clothes that I'm supposed to fold after the show, laundry. So it looks like every other house. Like behind this, I'd be so embarrassed because there's so much laundry I have to fold.
Please excuse the mess. Yeah.
What? It's literal. Everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
But no, I should have asked my daughter to send it to me. So yesterday I had said because they got the alert for the earthquake that happened yesterday. So she's under her desk. She'll start taking pictures of people under her desk. I'm like, you're supposed to be holding on. You're not supposed to be taking pictures of people. God, child. But yeah, if it happens, I'll definitely get pictures.
Well, this whole thing today at 10:19,
right,
in just 8 minutes now, is supposed to last for a minute or so. So that's it.
Oh, are we getting it? But are we getting the loud alert on our phone?
Do you have the MyShake app?
Yes, but I didn't get the alert last time.
That it only came to some people, I guess. Some schools or businesses may have more extensive drills, which could be an hour or even go on throughout the day. And this is the key. A text reminder will be sent to any cell phone with the Shake app installed. You can register for the drill at shakeout.org, shakeout.org. The website also has details on how to prepare food, water, make it on your own for a couple weeks should you need to do that. So,
okay.
Yeah. That's not really long enough for me because I always spend the first couple seconds of an earthquake thinking,
how long is it going to last?
Is this the big one? Or is this just a little...
Well, it takes me a second to be like, I'm not like losing my mind. The earth is shaking, right? So then it's like, oh, it is. And then there's, I don't know, maybe this is just the California. And I'm like, oh, we're having an earthquake. So there's always that part where it's like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then if
I'm
it
thinking
lasts
in my
too
head,
long, oh no,
I'm thinking 3.1, maybe 3.6.
Gotta get your,
And then I'm like, and then when it keeps going, and then I'm like, maybe 5.0. Then I'm like, okay, now I need to take action.
Get under. Exactly. Yeah. And I just love how we
I don't
all
think
just
that's how it's supposed to happen, by the way. That's just my process.
That's a Californian though for you. You're like, we're not, in my opinion, I'm never scared unless things start falling, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just shaking, I go, oh, that was a big one.
Thank God I have my husband because he's like, we got to have the emergency preparedness kit.
Oh,
we got to have this. What if there's an earthquake? We need the earthquake insurance because if our house catches fire in an earthquake, then the insurance won't pay. So we have to be covered this way and we have to be covered that way. And I have a portable potty for us. So if we need to pee or use a bathroom, we have a little restroom that we can use outside. And I'm going to have the gold coins in case the house burns down and we have no money. So I'm like, disaster preparedness 101 over here.
Yeah, exactly.
And meanwhile, I'm like 4.1, 4.2.
Like, do I need to go into work right now? There you go. Yeah,
that's the difference between a native Californian and a Michigander, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, we're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, we'll see. In 6 minutes, we're going to have this little shaky shaker. Authorities say about 500 Jewish activists supporting Palestinians were arrested at the U.S. Capitol yesterday. You showed pictures of that, Nikki. Yeah. Protesters were heard chanting, "Ceasefire now." 3 people have been charged with assaulting a police officer in that incident. The House is expected to vote for a new speaker again today. This after Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan fell short of the 217 votes needed to be elected for the second time in 2 days. The chamber has been unable to move any legislation following Kevin McCarthy's ouster weeks ago. They won't be able to until a new speaker is confirmed. So it'll be interesting to see if they do hold a vote and who would be the nominee for this vote and what would happen.
Well, the Washington Post is now reporting as of 2 minutes ago, some members of the hard-right House Freedom Caucus, who were among Jordan's strongest backers for Speaker, do not plan to empower Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry, that Jordan supports as they came out of that closed-door hearing. McCarthy went 15 rounds. We've only voted twice, and so arguably we've got a dozen more votes to get through to elect Jordan Speaker. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Nope, no thank you at all. So chaos at the Capitol, and I guess that's kind of our new normal.
That's the new reality, yeah, exactly.
The Trump civil fraud trial continuing in Manhattan federal court later today without the former president. Trump voluntarily appeared twice this week, hoping to get some FaceTime for the first time in years with Michael Cohen, but Trump's former lawyer and fixer postponed his testimony due to a pre-existing medical condition, so they won't come face to face.
Oh, great.
The man accused of killing Tupac Shakur is set to appear in a Las Vegas courtroom soon, where he will be arraigned on a murder charge in that cold case from 1996. 60-year-old Dwayne Davis is accused of orchestrating this drive-by shooting that killed the rapper and injured record producer Suge Knight. Prosecutors say Davis planned the hit in retaliation for an attack on his nephew a few hours prior. So.
I mean, he was always on the list, right? So it's not a surprise that it's him. It's just a surprise that it's taken so damn long.
And has been speaking out about his, involvement. He said he was in the car where someone opened fire. He knew a lot that had happened there. So a lot of things still cost a lot of money. And every time you go to the grocery store, it's a head scratcher about how much you just paid for just a few items, right?
Yep.
The head of the Federal Reserve says inflation is still too high and lower economic growth is probably needed to bring it down. Speaking at the Economic Club of New York, Jerome Powell said the slowing of prices is not enough to determine a trend. Powell said it's unclear how long these lower readings will persist or whether inflation will settle in the coming months. He hinted at the need for the labor market and economic growth to slow to achieve the Fed's goal of reaching 2% inflation. Google cutting dozens of jobs in its news division. Hate to hear that, you guys. We need all the people reporting we can get, but at least 40 employees are being given pink slips this week. Google's been downsizing across all divisions in recent months in a company-wide adjustment to slow the growth and global economic uncertainty. In Sonoma County, the wife of Sonoma County Sheriff Eddie Engram is pleading not guilty to DUI charges. Natasha Whittinghill Engram was arrested after crashing her Tesla into a house in Santa Rosa. This happened last May. A woman inside the home was injured by flying debris as well. The Whittingham Engram allegedly had a blood alcohol content of more than twice the legal limit.
Oh, geez.
She is facing 2 felony DUI charges, which she pleaded not guilty to yesterday, and she's due back in court next month. A $50 million recovery fund will soon be available to the survivors of the Maui wildfire.
Oh, wow.
Hawaii Governor Josh Green says details about how families can apply and who is going to be eligible for this money will be released very soon. The governor saying the cash can be used for a wide variety of expenses, from rent to buying a new car. So,
wow.
Yeah. Nice. Speaking of prices being raised, though, Netflix.
Ugh. It's a good thing that I
Raising
don't
prices.
pay for it.
The company says its premium ad-free plan will jump by $3 a month to $22.99 starting this week. The basic plan increasing to $11.99 in the U.S. Other plans staying the same price. It's not the $3, right? What's $3?
It's a lot.
It's the everything costs extra $3. Everything costs extra. And when you add it all up, it's like this mounting pressure of cost.
It's too much. It's too much money. Yeah. It's way too much money. And I need
to
I need to start cutting off things again. It sucks. It really sucks. And now they're cracking down on password sharing and all kinds of crap. So damn it. Damn it.
Cher, lastly, I'll say Cher says she's leaving the United States if former President Trump wins the 2024 presidential election. The singer said she almost got an ulcer last time. In an interview with The Guardian, she says she's been a vocal critic of the former president since his time in office. In 2016, Cher, who's now 77, also promised to leave the country if Trump won office, saying she would be moving to Jupiter. Now she's saying the same thing. I'm leaving the country. Well, you didn't last time, so are you going to really this time?
I got my shake alert. Got my shake alert. Got my shake alert. I got my shake alert.
Oh, okay, good. Look at you. Let me get.
Anybody
see
else?
you later, Cher. What do you see? Okay, shake alert. There you go.
I mean, it's
I
not
didn't
making a
get
noise
one.
because
I
it's on vibrate.
Yeah.
And Cher does look great. I mean, that's a lot of plastic surgery, and I don't think that's all her hair, but yeah.
Yeah.
No alert. I got
There
it.
she is.
I got it. Did you get an alert? You didn't get your alert?
I don't. I must not have the MyShake app installed.
You have it. My shake 100%.
I
Test
had it.
just went off.
Yeah.
My shake. Kim just got hers. It was actually a voice speaker. See, mine's on vibrate. I should have taken it off vibrate like a dumbass. I kept it on vibrate. So.
Is it still talking to you?
No.
It's supposed to go on for a minute.
Oh, well, let's see. Oh, I don't need the picture.
Taking pictures?
No, because the stupid button's in the wrong spot. See, I always bitch about that with a stupid phone.
Taking pictures of your feet.
I hate it. It's so annoying. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any noise. It's just saying
shake alert, shake alert.
Yeah, that's all it's saying. See, why do some people get it and some people don't?
Because you have to have the Shake app installed. I might not have the Shake app.
I highly doubt you do not have the MyShake app on your phone.
That's a possibility. I'm not a big fan of a lot of apps on my phone. I don't
Well,
like to.
you would think that you would need this one, my friend.
I do
MyShake
get
data.
and not the MyShake, but I have been alerted when there's an earthquake before by the federal emergency alert system. The Shake alert test was creepy. It was actually a voice speaking, says Natalie. Ooh.
Mine says 5.02, but I think that that's just like they just put it up there like as a test of what it could possibly say. It's just a test. 5.0 test of the earthquake warning system. No action needed. That's funny. Okay.
Well, they're talking today about, this is the day to remember. Do all the emergency stuff you need to do. Get that, emergency box in place. Put your emergency papers where you need
don't
to.
drink the water and eat the food that you have in there just because you're hungry. Like, just
Right.
make sure you don't touch it. But you do also have to swap it out. You can't just.
I was going to say, if it's old food, you got to make sure that you have the, fresher food. Yeah.
And also, if you have canned foods, don't forget the can opener. Like
Those
people
CBs
do that
are
all
funny.
the time. Your package.
Mine says your
your package is on the way. Yeah, no, but again, like that's like the things you need to have in your box are like canned goods. I'm like, don't
Yeah.
forget the can opener. Like, don't forget a pot to cook your food in. Like those sorts of things. Like if you're really going, if it comes to where you need to eat food that you've been storing for months, if not years, you need to have the utensils there as well. And people always forget the freaking utensils. I'm like, don't forget the utensils. That's
You're
like
such
camping.
a mom.
I am.
Maud says, I want mine to say, it's okay, darling. You have God.
You have God. Or go with God, right? Like, go with God. It's fine. Just relax. God will protect you. Oh, yeah, definitely. James, don't forget the corkscrew. Exactly.
Right.
Although, have you ever done I can open up a wine bottle with a tennis shoe? I can do that.
Now I remember what I wanted to show you.
What?
Oh, God. Okay.
It better be as good as your
No, give me a minute.
exasperations
I have to
are
download.
making.
It's okay. You know that Taylor Swift cup you got at the movies?
Yes. Oh, it's over there.
Someone just said Taylor Swift and it reminded me. I saw this thing on Facebook last night and it was that I can send you the picture. They had this cup next to a bottle of wine and they said, news alert, an entire bottle of wine fits in that
cup.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Yeah. I buy it. I'd buy that. Like, it's just
Heads up,
soda
the
in
cup
here.
fits a whole bottle of wine in it. That's what they said.
That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Did you know that an entire bottle of wine? See, I don't drink wine that much anymore. That's why I got so hammered at wine at 9.
Wine at 9 was, that was
Wine
a
at 9.
moment.
I mean, I will tell you this, especially if I make my cocktails at home. I can have tons of cocktails. Okay, not tons, but I can drink several. If I go to a bar and have 2, I'm
Get
sloshing.
ready, Lori. She's coming for you.
Yeah, Lori, I'm gonna have to eat. I don't want to make a fool out of myself, but I won't be driving. But yeah, no, bartenders are generous for some reason, and so I'll get tipsy, and I'm like, I could have 3 cocktails at home, totally straight. I go to the bar, and I'm like, what are you putting in this? Like, come on now. They're not. I measure my cocktails at home. That's probably why they always like measure it and then they keep pouring because I tip well. Like I bought. So again, going back to the whole tipping thing, I bought 3 drinks the other night because we were doing like I'll get this round type of thing. I got 3 drinks. It came out to like $50. I tipped $10. I tipped $10, and after I signed it, I was like, Kim would not tip $10 on this.
For what? For 3 drinks?
Yeah.
Isn't it supposed to be $1 a drink?
See, that's what I was thinking in hindsight. I'm like, this is where all of your money goes. Nikki.
Or is that old school? Is that
well, look?
Are those my grandparents' rules? And now it's supposed to be a lot.
You know
more.
what's interesting? If I had gotten 3 Coors Lights, I would have tipped probably $1 each. But because they made the cocktail,
it's a little more intensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Eric, my husband is not watering down my booze. What's funny that you say that is on the weekends, because I don't drink during the week anymore. I just have fake non-alcoholic ones. So on the weekends, if I ask my husband to make my drink, especially if it's towards the end of the night, he makes them so strong. I'm like, what are you trying to do to me? And last night, I have a cold, if you can't tell. And so he made me a hot toddy last night. And I don't drink hot toddies because I really actually don't like honey that much, except in food. But it was really, really good. And it helped loosen things up. But, that's the wine bottle.
Here's the post. It says, heads up, this cup fits a whole bottle of wine. Yep.
But it needs ice. If I'm going to put a whole bottle of wine in there, it needs some ice if it needs to be served cold. If it's red wine, okay. But who's drinking red wine with a straw?
Yeah, I would do that. A lot of moms, parents, on Halloween, as they have to stroll through the neighborhood hanging with the kids,
with their coffee, their little
have a little sippy cup full of whatnot, right? And so maybe that's the Taylor Swift cup. You just pour the whole thing in. That could be pretty dangerous. Yeah, no. Anyway, made me think of you.
I thought, who would enjoy a story about an entire bottle of wine in a cup
fitting into a Taylor Swift cup? That's right.
Nikki, of course. Yeah, I know exactly what he's trying to do to me, SJ Lola. Unbeknownst to him, if I get hammered, I'm out. But yeah, I always go, what are you trying to do to me? You're making this a little tipsy. Because sometimes it matters. If it's that way, he'll make it extra strong. But sometimes if I'm too sloshy and I ask him to make me another cocktail, he'll make me a fakie, which is what I call it, with no booze. And I go, there's no booze in this. He's like, he'll just pretend. He's like, I'm not pouring any booze into this glass.
My son, yesterday we were talking about in the car what our favorite restaurants are.
Okay.
And my son said for dinner, we all have favorite ones for lunch, favorite ones for breakfast, and favorite ones for dinner.
Okay.
And my son said, my favorite restaurant is Seared, but I don't like their mocktails.
Seared? I've never heard of Seared.
So it's a restaurant in Petaluma. It's like a steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's the number 1 steakhouse in Petaluma.
I don't know. They have mocktails, but they're meant for adults. Like, they're a little bitter. They taste like maybe there could be booze in it, but there's not.
But there's
they
not.
They really
right.
make it taste like an adult beverage, even though there's no booze. But my kids ordered one thinking it was going to be like a kid's drink because there was no booze in it. And so he gets this drink and it's not sweet. And he hated it. Yeah. But it's just funny to hear him saying, I really don't like their mocktails.
I really don't like their mocktails. Get out of Shirley Temple and shut the heck up. You know what I mean? Like, no. Yeah. My kids, I don't think they've ever even had a mocktail. I don't buy soda for the house. My daughter buys soda and brings it into this house and it pisses me off to no end. I don't like soda at all.
I don't either. We don't do it at all. But I will say, it depends on what you think of soda. Because lately,
not carbonated drinks. I mean, my son likes the flavored sparkling water. I let him drink that.
Yeah, so I have that. Is that a soda? That's not.
No,
it doesn't have sugar.
No, it doesn't have the
calories.
sugar in it. Yeah.
But you know what Julia is into is energy drinks. She likes yerba mates.
Yerba, I've heard of them. I've never had one. How much caffeine is in it?
It's like 2 cups of coffee. I think 160 milligrams.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's significant.
You and I had a conversation back at the old station once where we had a discussion of, are energy drinks good for teenagers? Like, should we let them have them? And both of our end result after discussing and reading the research and whatnot was no. No.
They don't need it. You're young. Go out.
You don't need it. It makes your heart beat faster. It's not good for your body. Done.
Yes.
But my husband has acquiesced to her and has bought her a case of these things.
The yerba mates?
The yerba mates. And I don't know how bad they are. And I guess I should be lucky that that's the least of our worries, that she's drinking a yerba mate. But so that's probably the worst drink that we have at our house. I don't know what my point is. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No,
but yeah.
my husband drinks the Rockstar Orange energy drinks all the time. And he loves them. He absolutely loves them. So my daughter's been taking sips of them. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't need that. You're 14. If anybody has energy in this world,
it's you.
It is you. Like, go to bed earlier. Like, I'm sorry, get up. But it's, I drank coffee really young. I'm like, yeah, it stunted my growth. I was always going to be short. But I started drinking coffee probably regularly around 15, you know? I just started, just kind of another tangent that we're going down. I'm starting to watch Gilmore Girls for the very first time.
Oh, Julia and I watched the whole thing over the summer. It's great.
I never have watched it before, so I think I just started season 3.
Okay.
They drink a ton of coffee, and every time I'm like, that girl does not need that much coffee at that age. I always think that. I'm like, no. Also, although I enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning, I had 1 cup of coffee today. And normally I might have 2. No, actually, I had 2 cups of coffee today. But that's it. I don't need any more, because honestly, I don't need anything that makes it harder for me to sleep, because I don't sleep well as it is. That's good sleep is elusive to me. So I don't need anything that makes it even more difficult to sleep.
Are you watching Gilmore Girls with Marley?
She already watched it without me.
Oh, okay.
I was like, because I was like, I'm watching Gilmore Girls. She's like, I hate that guy, Dean. She doesn't like Dean.
Yeah.
And I was like, you already watched it? She's like, Mom, I've watched this series like a million times. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just starting it. And no, I do not watch Gilmore Girls with her. Although I have decided that I don't like Dean either, because I've reached the point in the show in which we don't like Dean anymore. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about Jess. Sorry, we're going on a Gilmore Girls tangent. Yeah. The writing is a little bit much for me. The back and forth, the way the delivery is. It reminds me of a less sophisticated West Wing. Did you ever watch West Wing? Doesn't it? It's like, oh, everyone has these really, sassy quips all the time. And I'm like, nobody talks like that. Stop it.
It's an acquired thing, but I enjoy the fast-paced dialogue and the fact that you have to pay attention, or you're going to miss a joke, or you're going to miss a reference, or whatever it is. I liked it. Julia actually made me watch it. I had missed it back in the day, and she said, we need to watch it together. So we, from start to finish over the summer, every evening we watch like 2 or 3 episodes.
Well, my former friend of mine was huge, a guy really huge into Gilmore Girls. Like, he loved it, and I would always make fun of him about it. But yeah, anyways. Okay, I think are we done with headlines? Sorry, I interrupted your share headline with the shake app, and we've gone down so many different roads.
We ended with share. We're good to go. Kim McAllister, Nikki Medoro Show, blah, blah, blah. Crowdfunded by you. The NikkiMedoroShow.com, Patreon, PayPal, yeah. That's it.
There we go. Thanks, guys. You know the business. Okay, let's get to. Okay, can I just honestly though? I feel like it's sad to bring it up, and because we were just talking about. and it is. I'm not laughing because it is really, 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 really sad. Yeah. I thought when I first heard this story that this was a scene out of the movie, and I'm sure you haven't seen the movie Final Destination. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Was that another horror movie?
It's a horror movie. And I heard this news report yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, it is the scene at a Final Destination. If you don't know what Final Destination is, it is a movie in which it starts off with people avoiding death. And so then death wants to follow them because it tries to kill them. Okay. So for instance, the first Final Destination was about how this guy was on a class trip, and they were behind a big rig carrying a bunch of lumber. And the chain broke on the lumber. And
That's a nightmare.
And one of the lumber thing fell out, hit the truck, and they all died.
Yeah.
But because the guy had a dream about it, he stopped the bus. It didn't happen. I mean, the lumber falling off happened, but they didn't die. Did you see what happened to this Oregon couple? Now, the lumber didn't fall off, but these bicyclists from Oregon, and this is the thing that makes me so sad. It's like they're like the best couple. I'm gonna play KTVU's report just because they're a sweet couple. They don't have any kids, but they were like parents to other people. But they were from Oregon, and they were bike riding in Napa, And it wasn't as bad. And I'm not making fun of I'm just mentioning the movie because I literally thought it was.
We have an enormous void
There they
in
are.
our hearts right now.
A great looking couple,
Impressions they left on
right?
are everlasting.
Friends and family are in shock over the deaths in Napa of Christian and Michelle Deaton, who were visiting from Portland, Oregon.
Ugh.
The married couple were riding their bikes along Silverado Trail near Oakland Avenue when they were hit by a piece of wood from a passing lumber truck at about 11 Tuesday morning. Christian died at the scene. He was 52 years old. His wife, who was 48, died at a hospital.
Oh, so young.
Now, loved ones are struggling to make sense of their loss. The couple both worked for Nike or its parent company and enjoyed traveling together.
Very skilled athletes. Cycling is their major love. Traveling.
Look at that. You know?
Longtime friend Josh Ring says the couple had no children, but were like second parents to his kids.
I'm speechless right now. There's not many words that can derive the situation that we're in. We're left wondering why.
Ring says he finds some solace knowing that they died doing something they loved.
We're not angry, but we are comforted that they went together, and we believe that they're in a better place in heaven right now.
CHP says a 55-year-old man driving a Freightliner flatbed truck was heading north on Silverado Trail when his load shifted and a piece of wood jutted out to the right, hitting the couple in the bike lane as the truck passed them. The
God.
And is cooperating with an ongoing investigation.
Right? I mean, that sucks. That sucks.
That's really a
that says
horrible
there aren't
accident.
any bike paths on Silverado Trail. I don't know about that. I would assume maybe just that little
The shoulder, yeah.
shoulder. But again, and then my question is, like, did he know that it had shifted? Did he know that it was jutting out? Did he know how wide he needed to be and to give himself room? That's just, yeah, exactly, Jim. Exactly what I was thinking. Someone did not tie their load correctly.
Yeah.
It shouldn't shift like that. But, and I don't like it. And I will say this, and the reason why I brought up the Final Destination movie, I will not. If there is any way to get around it, I will not drive behind big rigs carrying lumber because of that scene. And anybody that has seen that movie feels exactly like I do. I don't like driving behind. Also, when my dad was teaching me how to drive, I'll never forget this. He gave me this speech. I could still see. I think I was going on the 280 to 87 over ramp. I think that's where we were when he was telling me this. He's like, now that you're driving, you are driving a machine that can kill somebody, and you need to be very, very careful. And then in the same breath, he looks forward because there was like a tow truck in front of us, and he's like, and never drive behind tow trucks, especially carrying cars. He's like, do not drive behind. You never know what can happen. And so, and of course, this is different because nothing fell off. It just shifted and it kind of, hit them as they were passing by. But yeah, I try to avoid all tow trucks, big rigs, car carriers, things like that. It's just really hard.
Try to avoid is the no offense to gardening or gardeners, but the gardener trucks that have like the lawnmowers and all the stuff, and some of it looks like it might not be tied down because it's kind of bouncing around and shifting and moving.
Yes.
I'm always like, if I see one of those, I'm way back.
Yeah,
you know?
I completely agree because it's like, all right. Okay, let's get into the Halloween thing because I really want. Okay, so
what do you want to be for Halloween, Mommy? I want to be a whore, Mom.
I want to be a whore. Okay, I want you to be honest with me. Have you as an adult or as a high schooler or a college student ever had a sexy Halloween costume?
No.
You've never done a sexy Halloween costume?
No. I always try to be something attractive, but not necessarily slutty.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of my costumes. I think there was just one year where I did a sexy gangster. That's what it was.
Okay.
It's before I had children.
Yeah.
And then you guys know, and one of our old colleagues, Jared, was the king of this. Punny costumes. I think punny costumes are really funny. So an easy one that I was going to do with my mom's group, but we decided not to, was to get headbands that are like animals. So like a giraffe or an elephant, and then have like a noisemaker because then you're a party animal, like something easy peasy like that. Yeah. I glued one year, I glued candy to my pants. So I was a smarty pants. When I was pregnant with Marley, I was the chick from Juno, and I got James, the boyfriend's like athletic. I did that one year. But as far as
very creative, I'm very boring.
Sexy. I mean, and I will tell you, even I was a sexy gangster. It was just tight. It wasn't like my ass was hanging out. I had a skirt and like kind of like a little short top. And I had a gun and I had the hat, again, before children. Now, the joke always is, and when I say what happens when your teenager wants to dress slutty, it's only girls we're talking about. A guy can wear literally a diaper and it's no big deal,
Right.
but a girl cannot. So let's just get this straight. We're talking about girls here. Is there something wrong, especially if all of your girlfriends are dressing up in a sexy costume? And what is your biggest problem with it?
I know. And so we don't need to have the conversation that because you dress a certain way doesn't mean you're asking for it.
Of course.
Right.
Right. And it's Halloween, so you're not actually, you're just dressing up as it.
It's never the fault of someone who's wearing a short skirt or a tube top or whatever it is for getting sexually assaulted.
Right.
However, a 14-year-old girl does not need to get the attention from boys by wearing something where she bends over and there's butt cheek, as we talked about with homecoming dresses, or, low cut or fishnets or sky high heels or all this. That's a 14-year-old girl. And so you don't need to masquerade as something that, and plus all these costumes, police officers, waitresses, whatever the costume may be, most of the time in life, this is not a slutty costume. It's only slutty on Halloween because apparently people are going out to the bars and they want to get some, which is fine. That's a lot different than high school.
Yeah.
Right?
So what was it? It wasn't last. I mean, I've dressed up as a witch. I dressed up as Romy and Michelle with one of my friends.
How fun.
And I will say that was probably sexy, but not slutty because it was a dress.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like too short. And I had like nylons and everything underneath it. And I was an adult. The reason why I say Grady before I had kids is because the outfit definitely it was definitely tight. I don't know if I'd be able to squeeze. I bet I just have to get a bigger size. But I love Heather. I was a toilet for Halloween once. Definitely not sexy, but funny as hell. So my daughter wants to be Princess P. She's doing a t-shirt, the crown, the gloves, and then like a pink tutu with like leggings underneath it. That's her costume. I agree with you on one hand. On the other hand, I think in high school, you could probably have a conversation with your kid about like, this isn't appropriate. It would definitely depend on what it was. But there's this article in Parents Magazine. And they basically said you should avoid using shaming language
like
when talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you don't need, it's more curiosity. Like, well, why do you want to wear, like, if you wanted to be Big Bird, why don't you want to actually be Big Bird? Why do you have to be sexy Big Bird? Right. So that's the whole kind of thing. Yeah. Sexy Santa. Although that could be a turn on for some people. I'm just saying.
That's great if you're in your 20s, but if you're 14, nope.
Oh my God. Heather's like, there was a sexy ear of corn costume on Amazon a few years ago. I regret not buying it. That would have been hilarious. Yeah. I mean, some of them are just ridiculous. It's like, do we need a sexy version of this? You know what I mean?
Apparently that's supposed to be, remember that movie, was it Mean Girls, where they do the Jingle Bell talent show?
Yes,
that's a costume. That's a Jingle Bell talent show costume.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's really funny that you mentioned it because instead of the party animal thing, me and my mom friends got a sweatshirt that just says "Cool Mom" on it because of Amy Poehler's character. She's like, I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. So that was our costume. I feel like what's sexy versus slutty it matters. Another piece of advice is keep the focus on the costume and not your child or their appearance. One is like, I'm concerned that you might not feel comfortable the night of in that costume, because it's fine if you're inside your room wearing something, but now you have to walk in front of people, maybe walk at school or getting candy or at a party. You may not feel as comfortable with your, butt cheeks hanging out or your boobs, hanging out than you did at home, perhaps.
No.
What, you have another costume that you want to show me?
I do, but also I disagree with that advice. I think that
you just need to straight up call your child a whore.
I think girls need to know what the perception is going to be if they walk out looking like this. Okay? If Julia said, "This is what I want to be for
That would be
Halloween,"
so funny.
I would be
I would
like,
want you to record the conversation in its entirety
if
and air
you
on the
wear
show.
this, here's what people will be saying. Now, I don't want to judge, but
I don't feel like
just,
any high schooler would want to wear
my
that.
comments are going to be based in reality. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
no thanks.
No high schooler should be wearing something like that. Natalie says, it's as if Halloween is the only time that fetish lingerie is okay to wear in public. I don't really get the appeal.
No.
Yeah. The joke is Halloween is the only day, only night where a girl can dress as a whore and nobody can say anything about it, basically. And I use the word whore loosely because you would never in any other day of the year wear such little clothing unless you were a prostitute or stripping. I mean, that's what I would say. Not saying everyone's a whore, but what I'm saying is, you're wearing the costume. That's what I'm saying. You're wearing the costume of it. So, I don't think that they would even be able to wear a costume like that. Do your kids get to wear their costume to school?
Yeah.
Okay. Some schools don't do that anymore, which I think is totally defeats the whole purpose of Halloween is not being able to wear it. Yeah, John, you might get sent home if you wore that to high school. I don't know. I just feel I like punny. I like comfortable. Maybe it's my age. I don't know. I'm so over I need to dress as something sexy.
Here's a rhinestone cowgirl. You want this one?
Yes, please. I'm a rhinestone cow horse. What's with the hat? So they don't know that it's you?
It's your masquerading. Your secret.
Is there? That's a thong underwear. I hope it's a full bottom underwear.
I don't know what happens when you turn around, but hey.
Yeah.
No, this is not for a high school kid. Listen, if you want to go to a bar looking like that on Halloween, rock on. You're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, whatever. You're in your 50s, you're in your 80s. Go get it, girlfriend. But your 14-year-old kid, no. Tassels. No. Woohoo. No, that's not for girls. That's for women. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's an excellent point, Kim. There's a difference between costumes for teenagers and costumes for young adults. Look, again, you guys know how I feel. If parents are like, okay, you can wear that, that's not, you parent your own kid, I'll parent my own kid, and the two may not meet. If you're a high schooler looking to 20-somethings for Halloween ideas, you're looking in the wrong spot. I think some of Marley's friends want to do like a Men in Black. I think like doing a group thing is really fun because that's what, kids like to do. And Marley's doing some sort of Mario Brothers things with her friends. But yeah, no.
The reason I probably have never worn costumes like this, first of all, is number one, I've never felt confident enough with my body to put myself in an outfit like that and go into public, right? Okay. So I wouldn't do that anyway. Second of all, if I did have that confidence, I sometimes in my life have found I don't know what to do with that attention, right?
Interesting.
And so I think some women, because not me, but some women are able to handle that attention and able to, deal with it. It's easier when you're grown up to deal with unwanted advances or people walking by and grabbing your rear end, hanging out in a devil suit or whatever it may be. But a 14-year-old, 15, 16, 17-year-old girl, sometimes they're not most of the time, all the time, they're not experienced enough to handle that attention. They don't, they don't know what to do when they go out there. The
eyes, the hands.
And is it their fault that people are reacting like that? I would say no, people should keep their hands to themselves no matter what. However, it is going to happen. And when something like that happens, or when some guy at school is leering at you or coming on to you because, they think that you've worn this suit, so it means you must be looking for something. I just think girls are not equipped to handle that. That's a whole nother issue. Yeah.
No, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it comes down to the fact of like, you look, especially when you're young and your body starts getting curves and places that look great, right? And so you're like, I look fabulous in front of this mirror, and I'm going to wear this small top and maybe these low-rider jeans or these short shorts or whatever. And then all of a sudden you go to a party and you're walking through the crowd and hands are touching you in places in which you didn't say okay. That can be really hard to navigate. Unless you're really outspoken and you tell them to F off and keep their hands to themselves. But how many 17-year-old girls do you know would be able to do that, you know?
That takes a minute to figure out how you're going to handle that or how you're going to.
Exactly.
And so you don't want to send a girl out into the world in a little slut suit that's ill prepared to be able to know how to handle herself.
And I'm telling you, and I know this is again is showing my age, and I know that girls are like, but I want to be cute and I do want the attention or whatever. On Halloween, I find it, again, I'm old. I find it way more fun to have a punny or a comfortable costume that people like laugh at or like, that's so clever or whatever.
Right.
That, oh, look, here's another sexy devil that walked in. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, you might be getting attention because you look good, because your body looks good. But on
Right.
Halloween, I like to get clever. I like to like do something where like, that's really funny. You know what I mean? Or,
Yeah.
That's the joy of it. And I think that just takes a little bit of maturity versus there's going to be 10 of us and we're all going to dress up in our shortest skirts and lowest cut tops. And we're going to be sexy, fill in the blank. And it's like, okay, you make an entrance. People say, oh, you look hot. I think the person that's, the smarty pants or doing something clever or scary or gross or has great makeup is going to get the type of attention I think that Halloween calls for. Right. And so you should just steer your kids that way, and what is the point of Halloween and dressing up and doing those sorts of things? My kid won with butter, people. You know what I mean? Like butter won. I don't think we're going to win this year, though. I'm so far behind.
Here's the thing about the sexy Halloween costumes, though, is, and we say we don't want to have that happen to our girls and they're not ready for it. But and I'm sure you've noticed this, the store-bought Halloween costumes, since my daughter was a little girl looking at store-bought Halloween costumes, they always sexualize them.
Oh,
right?
Always.
So, you say your daughter wants to be a police officer. Well, the boy police officer outfit looks like a police officer outfit, but the girl police officer outfit still has a short skirt.
Yep.
And, little knee socks and whatever. It's all very, they started early with the, dressing kind of scantily or making girls into a sexual being earlier.
Or that you have to show skin to be the costume. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's really sad. But it's also, we buy it, right? So instead of making your own costume well, you know what I'm saying? Like the reason why they put it out there is people buy it.
People buy it, right.
Now you could buy your daughter the boy police officer costume.
Absolutely.
If they wanted to be a police officer, right? You could buy all of those. But it does suck. It's just like, it starts at toddler age, Kim. You know this, right? The boys get normal size shorts. The girls, toddlers, right? Yeah. They get the tiny ones, tiny shorts. Why? Why do we need shorter shorts on girls? Why? It's not as if, we don't like a lot of fabric. So it starts very, very young. And I think that Halloween is a point of, it's just actually a great example of the differences between how we dress and our gender and how we want to portray ourselves. And again, I am not going to police your child's costume. You have to do that. I will police my own child's costume. And, I'm totally okay with both of my kids this year. And if I see a costume in which I'm like, oh my God, I'll keep those thoughts to myself. But let me give this quick website before we go. If you are planning to make your own costume, there is a DIY Halloween costume concierge service. Okay. It's through this children's clothing company called Primary. I think Primary might be that one that is solid colors.
Yeah, it's Primary Colors.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. So they do this DIY and it's free. You can call in, but you can also go to this website. Let me bring up the website. I hope it displays properly. Here we go. So here it is. It's through Primary. You can search for Halloween costumes. So let's just go to 80s Barbie, right? And it gives you the materials that you need to buy to do it.
Cute.
And so, like, some of the things obviously you would have to do, but some of the products you could buy obviously through Primary, and that's obviously why they do this.
Right.
But they say you can use puffy paint, and so you can go on here. It's called primary.com, and then you can find the Halloween costume concierge service. It's free. You can call, you could text, and they have all these really, really, and they're mainly for kids. But I mean, obviously, just get a bigger size for yourself if you wanted to do something like that. But see, look at that baseball one. That is so cute.
That's adorable.
I miss, this is what I miss, where you could just dress your kids up in whatever the hell you wanted to dress them up into. You're like, there you go. That's what you're wearing.
I found a costume. So there's this line between Slutville and cute. and just a little edgy, right? Where you
Right.
don't really cross a line, but it's kind of hard to do. I found one that it's supposed to be sexy, but it's not too
That's not bad. That's not
It's
that
like
bad.
a Baywatch girl or a lifeguard or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not like the red,
No.
bathing suit.
It's fine. It looks good. And it's not like frumpy and you're still showing off your figure, but your, boobs aren't hanging
I
out.
think that's a decent.
Yeah.
And that would be really cute for like a bunch of teenagers. I would say those
Right.
shorts are probably what they get in PE, right? Like,
yeah.
that would be an appropriate group costume.
So there's a line. I mean, I'm not a total
Yeah.
prude, but I'm just,
I love Grady. I keep it simple. I'm Jason Voorhees every Halloween. Yay, if you get and that was the other thing that primary thing was saying. They're like, if you know you're only going to wear this costume once,
right,
then why spend a ton of money? Rent your costume. That's another idea. Make sure
Yeah.
it's good quality, obviously, or make it at home. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to spend buku bucks on all these accessories and everything. I think Marley's came out to probably 40, not even $40, probably
Mhm.
less than that, maybe $35. And it's a t-shirt, a tutu, and the little crown and glove things. Like, that's it.
For the
Easy peasy.
For the last 2 years, Julia has worn a onesie, like a onesie fleece
Like a
outfit.
pajama as an animal or something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
She was a
buddy.
unicorn last year and a cow the year before.
There you go.
So I mean,
That's nice.
I thought maybe that's a little frumpy for my taste. See,
That's
now I'm on the other
comfy.
end. But hey, I'm not
Comfy.
complaining. Not complaining.
No.
Mm-mm.
I think we're going to see, this is another thing that's really popular right now, a lot of sharks, because there is a shark blanket that's really popular to buy right now. It's like an entire, you can wrap yourself as a cocoon and you look like a shark when you're laying there. So my kids wanted
Really?
one. I did not buy it. Yeah, it's really, if you look it up, it's really, really cute. So I predict a lot of those. I still love the dinosaur, the inflatable dinosaur with I still find that costume so funny. There's going to be tons of Kens and Barbies. We know that. Yeah, I don't know what other ones are going to be popular this year, but maybe some Lokis, because that's back out. Marvel will probably be big this year. So yeah, just keep it fun. Make sure that they can be seen in traffic. And yeah, the burrito blanket. Yeah, I don't know if I could wear a burrito blanket.
Is that it?
That's it. See?
Okay.
So you can wear it like you're literally the shark. And you could just cocoon yourself and lay in it, and then your head comes out right there.
Yeah.
I predict. Although now that I see it, I wouldn't want to dirty it up on the bottom, so maybe not. But I think your feet cocoon in it like it's a onesie. But yeah, look at that. See, it's so cute. It's so very cute.
Okay,
my
cool.
birthday's coming up. If anybody wants to buy me a shark blanket, there you go. All right. Okay, so that's our show. We will be back tomorrow. Tim Sika is supposed to be back tomorrow to talk all things movies and streaming. I got to figure out my food. I didn't do food last time.
I have a food for you.
Oh,
I have food.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so I saw this. I think it was on SF Gate. I'm trying to find it.
Okay, good.
It's this
I need
new
ideas.
soft serve ice cream.
Ooh.
But it's in a pouch, like a foil pouch.
Like a baby food type thing?
Like, you know how the applesauce comes?
Yeah.
But this
That
comes
could be
in a
interesting.
pouch, and it's called VCS. It's chocolate vanilla swirl is what it stands for. And it's supposed to be this beloved ice cream treat in Southern California, but now it's going to be available by pouch all over the place, and it's near you because it's for sale at, I think, Molly Stone's and somewhere else.
I don't have a Molly Stone.
The Nugget. CVT. There it is.
CVT.
It's soft serve ice cream, swirled ice cream in these
Ooh,
little pouches.
okay.
And it could be good. They call it Eater LA recently called it Los Angeles's food item of the year. And so I will say it is, and it's also an East Coast thing. They're in to-go pouches. They're at Molly Stone's, Sausalito, San Bruno, Burlingame, Palo Alto, San Mateo.
I have a nugget.
Nugget markets as well. So
I'll go look.
Go buy the CVT
I
and
can
let us
find
know
it.
how it is. CVT. Yeah.
Oh, I'll eat it live on air tomorrow.
I thought of you and I thought, oh, that'd be a good Friday thing because
Ooh,
I don't know.
I
if
can eat ice
soft serve
cream
ice
at 9.
cream,
Heck yeah.
is that going to be good in a pouch? Is that weird? I don't know.
I think the experience might be a little weird, but we'll
Do we
see.
need soft serve ice cream in a pouch? Like, why?
Well, I mean, then I can have ice cream in my purse, Kim. I mean, I can have ice cream in my purse. I think that's kind of the point, right?
It's less messy.
It's less messy. Yeah. I mean, I do like a cone, though. I'm not a huge ice cream eater, but I'll give this a shot. I'll give this a shot because I do like vanilla and chocolate. So those are my favorite. Okay.
I think that could work.
Click the thumbs up button. Please become a Medorable by going to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up for whatever you can afford on our Patreon account. We'll have a fun Friday show tomorrow. I appreciate each and every one of you. Harry, thank you for the $5 donation. Love the Red Jack. Please do a video. October 27th, the evening of October 27th is when I plan to give Sasha her box, and I'll have a couple Medoro mules so you guys can join us if you would like. So that's happening not this Friday, next Friday. All right, you guys. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.